Chauffeur Driven Car. Well, the present pandemic has brought in its wake what is known as online teaching. And this is one story which revolves around online teaching. Ritik was so happy with his new white sneakers. So comfortable, a treat for his feet, bought with his own earnings. Thanks to the pandemic and the online classes, he thought. The 16-year-old had taken up work as a delivery boy of the local store as his plus 2 classes were being held online. As it was a self as it is, he was a self-study student who didn't much care about the uninterested teachers who only knew to find fault with everything, cynical, who just mechanically showed encouragement, their love, and the words that they spewed out would never reach their eyes. The corona crisis, he had reinvented himself and thought of a good way to earn some money, rather his pocket money. His father, a driver, chauffeur of a banker, and mother working as a peon in the bank, pocket money was just a no-no these days. However, his parents were not happy with his new venture. Ritik assured them that his grades would not fall. He had set his goal to be a probationary officer in the bank and work his way up. Sometimes he toyed with the idea of becoming a teacher, just to show the world how a teacher ought to teach. But the bank manager's house, his cars, and his living standards didn't let him dream in this direction of taking up teaching as a profession. School, well, the only thing he loved about it was the lunch break, the games period, the free periods when teachers were absent, and of course the bell that declared it was time to go home. How he hated sitting in classes. When the textbooks are there, where every information is there and given enough information to pass an exam, what was the need for a teacher, he thought, who taught from the textbooks as if from scriptures, reading and explaining, or dictating notes, or making them mark in their books. What a respite e-learning was. And it was fun, very amusing. A voice would start with a small picture, and the screen would zoom with names and of his classmates. And anybody who joined late or couldn't join would put it as net issues, period. That was the end. And then, of course, a monologue of the teacher. He knew, as always, he'd manage without all this. His textbooks were his gurus. Now, the owner of the shop had handed him rupees 2,000 as his remuneration. So happy was he. He sanitized the notes, put them in the sun, neatly wrote the amount rupees 2,000 and put them in an envelope and sealed it. Late evening, when his father returned and they were all seated in a semicircle on the mat for their dinner, he put the envelope at his father's feet. His father, with a mouthful of the delicious curry his wife had cooked, mumbled, "What would you do? What do you want to do with it?" "Proud as a peacock," Ritik answered. "What do you want, Papa?" "What do you want, Mama?" Sneha, what do you want? Or Bantu. And then he asked his little brother Bantu. Father said, "You've been after my height to buy you shoes, so go buy yourself a pair of shoes, whichever one you want." Which he did. They were pure white, so comfortable, so beautiful. Sneha excitedly hovered around him, shouting with glee, and laughed. "White! So very white!" Why? He was offended. "Can't I wear white? How will you maintain the white? There is so much dirt around, and you yourself not exactly very clean." Tongue in cheek, she laughed. She stole away his pleasure of the happy purchase he had made. The following morning, he rode um, the he rode feeling brand new, his shoes on. At the store, he loaded the bag with milk products which had to be dispersed. One or two householders generously complimented him on his shoes. He was so happy. He'd share this with Sneha, he thought. What does she think, the killjoy? It was the third day or so when he had taken off his shoes to go to the first floor to collect the money payment for the milk for the month. Singing, he came down and his heartbeat nearly stopped. His shoes were gone. He looked everywhere. He prayed and hoped that someone had played a prank on him. The quiet teen that he was, he roared out, "Expletives! Expletives in a row!" His agonized wail, his only solace for his injured soul, filled the colony. He told the storekeeper about the theft and went home early. Sneha, as usual, made light the situation, much to his chagrin. He had a bath, sat in the corner, opened a textbook, which he had not done for the past month. His father greeted him heartily. "Nice to see you with your books, sonny." He simply answered, "Someone stole my shoes." "Your cycle, is it still there?" His father asked nonchalantly. "Yes," said Ritik. "Oh, you're so lucky, no worries." His wife handed him his towel and clothes. While having her bath, his father chatted and said, "Please, could you stop being an errand boy and put your whole and soul into your studies?" He emerged from the bathroom, smelling of fresh soap fragrance. Ritik ran and hugged him and said, "Papa, I promise." "Yes, Papa, you're a driver. I will get you a chauffeur driven car. That's my promise." He barely could talk. His mother chimed in, "Enough, you guys. Dinner's getting cold. Hurry up." "No, I will see that I get a chauffeur driven car," he said, tears rolling down his cheeks. "I will study very hard." His mother pulled him and gave him a resounding kiss.